I'd like to welcome you to the Rolex Kentucky CCI 4-star. We're about to head out onto cross country. I'm Doug Payne, and we're riding a horse called Running Order here. And before we get going, I just want to thank Equithrive for helping get this video online and helping our horses out over the years. It's a great product, so certainly go and check them out online. Running Order is owned by Patti Springsteen, and he started his career, or days really, was born over in Ireland, started racing. Wasn't really cut out for it. He was trained by sort of world famous guy by the name of Enda Bolger, and Enda had him for, I think he had 3 races, so I'll probably get some emails telling me that it was 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, but long story short, he just wasn't very good at it. He had a quick stint then over with Sneezy Foster, and she started sort of retraining him to head on it over into eventing before coming on to the US. And once he arrived here, did a little bit of show jumping and wasn't really what he was cut out to do, and about 5 years ago he made his way to our place, and I think he's been here just about 5 years and started with beginner novice and worked himself up through the levels. He won a 1-star, he was 2nd at a 2-star, he was 6th and 3rd at 2 3-stars. So it's just an excellent horse. Like I say, he's 10 years old, so he's got plenty of time ahead of him, and I really can't say enough about how lucky I am to ride him and how talented this horse really is. But I'll head on onto course and give you a little better idea of what it's all about. So as you can see, we're walking around the box here. The starters usually will count you down. They'll tell you got a minute left, 30 seconds, 15, 10, and then they'll count down from 10 all the way down to 1. And it's a nerve-wracking experience, especially in this particular case. Not that any 4-star is easy, but roughly half the field was either eliminated, retired, or fell. So we're heading out here at the box, our first fence. And just for people that are interested, the dimensions of these fences, they can be up to 3'11". They could be roughly 6 foot on the top spread and roughly 8 feet or so on the base spread. And a couple of these drops, we'll show you a little bit later, can be quite large. I mean, if I'm standing at the back, I'm 6'3". Standing at the back, I couldn't even close to see over the top of him. So the first couple fences here are just to really establish a rhythm and get the horses sort of open and galloping. That's sometimes the hardest thing, and especially with a horse like Running Order here, is that he can be a little bit like a 12-year-old on speed. He's a little ADD, so sort of getting his focus and getting him into a rhythm is the most important thing you can do in the first few fences. So we had 1, 2, we're heading down to 3 right now. You can see a couple of these fences are split, and the reason that is, you can pick the right-hand side or the left-hand side, and if the conditions were poor and it was really raining, or for whatever reason the footing gets cut up, you could then pick one side or the other. Your preference obviously would be on the inside. It's a little bit quicker. The time throughout this course is at 570 meters per minute, which is a little over 21 miles an hour, and that has to be your average speed, so a lot of these combinations you'll be a bit slower. So we're heading up to the HSBC water, and this is the first of the really big influential questions in the course. Is a good sized log, 4 strides to a skinny in the water, and then 3 strides to a duck. And get up here, we'll give you a short pause here. Now we got the picture pause. So you got a log that's right in front of us. You can see the brush skinny. Again, it's a good straight shot. I wanted to jump the first element of this on the right-hand side, and you can see actually there's a bunch of little white marks, and that's probably grease that was on the horse's legs before me jumping. So you want to jump that, get the 4 going, and then land on a bending 3 strides to the duck. So you can see we get a good jump in and forward. We drifted a hair left, but not too bad. Made this turn a hair tighter than it needed to be, but really once he sees it, he locks on and got right up to it. So very happy. Give him a little quick pat and off we go. We're galloping at a pretty good rate of speed here, and throughout this course you've got to keep going. You can't really sort of lag anywhere. You're going to get behind the clock very quickly. And coming up is probably one of the largest fences that is on this course, and it's a tobacco stripping bench, or table I think they called it, but long story short, it was massive. And coming up to one of these, you just want to keep your pace the same, maybe shift your weight back, get their balance up in front of you a hair more, and hopefully you see a good shot at it like we did there. Just get a very good jump. And what really amazed me is throughout this course, you see this sort of wave of sound that ends up following you as you go through, and there's just massive amounts of people everywhere. We're heading around here. We've got a tricaner, so it's a log with a ditch underneath it coming up. and it's going to be sort of a roll back into the first water complex. So he jumps the chicaner just a little bit awkward, and I'm thinking to myself, being that it was a hair sticky here, I've got to make sure that we get this line exactly right. So we'll pause it for a moment here, and we're going to line up the brush, which has just an absolute massive drop. I mean, if I was standing on the back side, I could not even hardly see even where the first, where the top wooden pole is, no less see over the brush itself. We're jumping slightly right of center and heading basically on a direct line right to that skinny house that you can see over in the distance. Let's get a decent jump in, sit way back, lots and lots of leg, and then on we go. So very good through there. And we're coming up to the next, which has caused the most problems for the field in this entire course. Roughly about 30% of the horses had some sort of problem here, and unfortunately I was not immune to it. We've got good setup. You want to take your time getting in, and we'll pause it as we get up close here again so you can see. So we've got a hanging log, and just beyond it is a ditch, and then a few strides beyond that, probably roughly 3 strides beyond that, is a skinny sort of wedge-shaped brush fence. The goal with this combination is to jump the first element in a very round fashion so that your horse doesn't end up hitting the log with his hind end as he's coming back down, which will very quickly send you up onto his ears. So not a place you want to be. Anyway, jump that very steep downslope into the ditch, which as you can see is pretty, it's not very inviting, and many horses jump this awkwardly. And I actually didn't notice what exactly had happened until I put this into slow motion just for this video. But you can see he actually jumps over to the right as he's going over the ditch. And what I remember at the time, at least, is that actually as we jumped over the A element that he started to go left. So I think what you can't really see as he's taking off is that I'm already starting to pull him basically to the right, but I think I overcorrected. And then you can see I end up having to try and pull him back left to get him back straight, and almost looks as if he's straight, but he never really, I don't think, had a chance at that point to lock onto it and jump. I think in hindsight, ultimately, if I had jumped the ditch well and just kept my leg on and stayed soft in my hand, he probably would have locked onto that C element and jumped out of there. But unfortunately it didn't happen, so leaves it up to next time. But anyway, circle back, and this C element that we're about to jump is the alternate route. So we jump this and then on you go. It's frustrating to have the penalty on course. Really, anytime you have any sort of jumping penalties, it's just really annoying ultimately. But you just have to take yourself at that point and say, okay, we're going to finish up this course as best as you can and see if you can continue to build his confidence and hopefully, figure out what went wrong in the past and figure out how you can fix it in the future. So we've got a long gallop up this hill, and just still amazes me how many people are out on the Saturday. But long gallop up here. We've got 2 brush tables coming up that are set. I think it walked in a 7, but probably should be a 6-stride line in between. So coming up to this, I saw just a little bit of a steady distance here. Jump this, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strides. So it actually walked in a 7. I probably should have let him go for the 6, but all's well and good. Coming up here is a jump that was also in the World Equestrian Games last year. A massive tree, really, really cool looking thing. He had a little bit of a peak though as he comes over at the ditch. You can see him kind of like drop his head and look down. But on we go. Next fence that coming up here is, again, it was a pretty influential one. We had a sheep shed, and then you head down quite a steep hill, and it's hard to tell how steep these hills are from this view. But you've got a sheep shed down, and then you've got 2 corners that was on a forward 4-stride line. So we've got a pretty good shot at the first, and I was looking too, at this point you'll see there's a sign. The sign that we're heading straight to, and he should be on a good line to the corners. He's very good with corners in general. Jumped this first one and landed a good 4-stride. And very, very good. You can hear Nigel in the background complimenting his jump on the second. So we're heading up here to the hollow. This again is a pretty good pull, and it is just a bit hard to tell with these helmet cams how, what the terrain is and how steep these hills really are. But pretty good hill. I didn't know, I mean, we're we're, you know, a fair few minutes in. I think this is around the 5 or 6 minute mark. Wasn't sure exactly how he was going to feel, but he was just absolutely full of, you know, full of energy. So came around this turn, wanted to get a good jump in this log. You'll see there's a very steep drop down across the hollow and then up to a skinny one. And this is actually a very steep hill. It's really hard to tell how steep that is. And give him a little cluck over it, but jumped it very, very well. And you can see, I mean, he just loves this stuff. I mean, you look at his ears, kind of constantly pricked forward. And if you're watching as you're galloping along, every once in a while you see, especially usually his right here, will end up flipping back. And it's usually when I put a little leg on or said something or give him a pat. But his attention is really good throughout the course. You can see right there, he's kind of moving back and forth. We're heading to now what was again another influential question here. It's a sunken road, so you want to take some time, get a good line in, and we'll pause it here. So you can see there's logs, and then just on the back side is a bank down, but it's on a sort of a cockeyed angle. So you're looking basically straight ahead. It's hard to see here, but there was actually those two massive double hedge tables were off in the distance, and that was sort of where we're lining up. And you can see as you jump through, you're going to do A, B, C, basically on a straight line, and then sort of bend to the D, E element. So jump the first, a little stutter step, which is excellent, and then leg on now, open the left rein so it doesn't drift. Jump that really well. Coming up here now, we've got a massive ditch and wall. Just wanted to see a good one here, and I saw a little bit of a forward one, so I gave him a smack here. Jumped very well. So in the background, actually, my sister was also riding at this, which is the first time that they've had at Rolex siblings sort of on course at the same time, or even competing at the same time. So it's hard not to start to pay attention every once in a while. You can hear the announcer go and hear, but you got to quickly refocus on the task at hand. Heading down to the head of the lake here, which is the sort of the main focal point of the cross-country course, and we've got a good-sized roll top, and then through the water, and then roll back into open logs, to a trout, and then to a bank. But we'll again pause it just in front so you can see where we're at. So we'll pause it now. Again, we've got the roll top in. You can see just covered in people in the background. You can see the stadium. That's where the dressage and show jumping were held. Keep going here, a little cluck to get in, jump very well in. And I went just to the outside of this fish here. And now we're heading up. So the open logs, again, we'll pause it right here. The open logs, to me, this is pretty intimidating. He's a spooky horse, running order is. And being that you can see the water through the rails, sometimes it's unpredictable how they jump these. And it ended up, he jumped it a little funny as well. He's very good with his front end, gets his front up over it, but he ended up getting his hind end sort of on top of the log, which made the 3 strides between A and B quite long. And then the 4 that's from the fish there to the bank that you can see in the distance ended up being quite short, so you had to ride very aggressive. The moment he jumps the fish, instantly steadying him so that you can get to the bank, and then you had a bounce on the way out. And this is one thing that he's been very, very good about this year that's getting better and better, is just getting real quick footwork. In the past, it had some trouble being able to compress him. Like I said, he's a big horse. He's roughly 17 hands and kind of a lanky type, so it's harder for him to collect and compress than it is for some of these others. You can hear it kind of clicks those two, so look at lots of leg, then whoa, 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 slow down, and now leg on up the bank and bounce out. Yeah, so he deserves a good pat there. And it's still just amazing. Everywhere you go, you just see people everywhere. So after that, I mean, that was one of the more influential questions on the course, and one of the things that I was most nervous about. So I was starting to feel pretty good. After this, we've got one sort of filler fence, and you'll see the Land Rover exhibit on the left-hand side as they have a test drive and all. You can see these guys, actually, people driving the Land Rovers right now. You got a big table, jump this, and again, this is, I mean, they're massive size, but it's sort of a let-up fence in a way. You just kind of gallop along here and get a good jump over it. And up to the top of this hill. Now this again is a pretty good grade up, and I was concerned at this point. The sort of general thought is give the horses a little moment up by these trees to sort of catch their breath before really being able to get on the gas again. This is the Normandy bank, so we'll get a hair closer and I'll show you what we've got here. So we'll pause it here. We've got an up bank, and then, which is a very good size. I mean, it's got to be near enough to a maximum up, which is just under 4 feet or so. Jump up, and then you had to bounce over the log that's on top, and then you don't see it now, and nor does a horse, but on the back side, you head down a slope, and it's a steady 4 strides to a corner. You had the option of picking the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I went to the left, and in a moment you'll see it. So we jump up, and all of a sudden there it is. Open the right rein, and he's just dead on. He was excellent there. I couldn't ask for anything better. So now we're starting to head home. We've got another, I don't know what they call it, but basically it's a ditch with a hedge over the top of it. And you can see there's just people cheering everywhere. It's pretty cool feeling actually. But you're cruising down the hill here, and good ditch and hedge there, and then you've got 2 angled tables coming up. So again, in these galloping, I'd kind of let him pick his own pace, but we're moving along pretty good. But the nice thing is that he's one of these that's you got a good shot out of that. But he's one of these that gallops along in a very light, easy way. So he's not one that's kind of pulling and dragging you all over the place. So he's really a pleasure to ride in that way. So we've got 2 angled tables coming up here. So I'm going to get over to the left-hand side. And now he just starts to get a hair distracted here. Wasn't really paying attention, so all of a sudden we start drifting a bit, and then now we're back on. And 2 stride in there. Excellent. So it jumps really well. So now this is a 1 turn on the course that I had totally miscalculated. I was thinking it was going to be a lot longer than that, and just got way tight. Got it right up next to that tree, but no big deal. Got a really big table coming up towards the finish here. And just wanted to pay attention to it. There have been a couple random falls throughout the years at it for whatever reason, but just took some care to get a good one. There we go. So we got a good shot there. Now this is the last combination on the course. There's 2 angled brush over ditches. I chose to do the option here. One to just play it safe. There's no reason to really go for a complete broke. And the option really didn't take that much more time. So you could have either gone straight across or sort of wrap around this little sort of paddock thing. So we look left, see it, and cruising on over. Now I had no idea, and you're really not going to until you get there, really how fit your horse is, and he just felt great here. I mean, he did come in a little bit on the warm side, but I mean, just had absolute tons of energy, and you can see the ears still pricked up and jumping great. So jump this, and then we see the last fence in the distance. And wrap around this. Just want to make sure you get a good jump at it. Just steady a tiny bit. There you go. Excellent. So really exciting. He's a horse that is going to be in the coming years certainly a force to be reckoned with. And I'm very lucky to have him. So we come in and you'll see, try and give you an idea, on the left hand side is the vet box. So we come in here and then I'll just trot a little bit, and it feels good. So then we'll unclip the air vest, and we use hid air vest there, and you can see then Michelle grabs his head, and this is Jess, my girlfriend, that was along with, and she actually just had finished up her ride as well. So all looks great. So hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, certainly shoot over an email. Want to make a quick note too about the saddle pads. I don't know if you can see it's fitted there to our saddle. It's made by a company called EcoGold, and they've been great help with us, but they make excellent pads. Saddles never slip with them, so go out and check them out as well. So I'd like to thank you for joining us on this journey around Rolex, and if you have any questions or comments, or would like to see more pictures, videos, or have questions about training a horse or any of the sort, website is dpequestrian.com, and look forward to speaking to you soon.